and friends, everyone has been asking me to show them how to do my blocks on my windows quilt here. This, I took a 8x8 block and I closed it in on each side. Each side is closed in on the short side. And you're gonna come up with a little envelope like this. And I take and I nest my seams on each side. I nest my seams. And this is your long side, you see. The opening of the envelope. And I'm going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now I back tack on all of this. On my 1/4 inch seam allowance. And where I nested these little seams, I'm gonna come down. I'll show you. And then I'm gonna back tack right here. And I come down to about right there. Then I'm gonna put it back in and close this end up over here. But I'm gonna leave an opening because I gotta get my finger in there. So if you got big fingers, you may want to leave a big opening, and you may just whatever is your opening, do it any size you want. But you need an opening to turn the block. So I also back tack at each opening and at each end. So when I get through, I cut up my little opening. Can you see that? Is it too dark over here? I cut off my little seams there. See, I left a pretty good opening there on this one. Usually I don't leave them so big. And then I cut my tips off. Make sure you do not cut into your seams. I slant my tips down because I want this to turn. I want to get my little points as pointy as I can. It's important that you get them as pointy as you can. And so I cut those off. Make sure you do not cut your seams, people. I am not cutting into the seams. I'm cutting, see, there's my seam right there. Then I take and go back to my opening. Seems like you never can find it. Stick my thumb in there and I pull this through. Pull it through. Try not to mess around in your little opening there too much. Distort your material because you want to try to lay that seam down in the same direction on at the end of the seam. And if you distort it, you won't be able to. You'll be able to do it, but it'll take a lot of work. So once I get it open, I stick my finger right here, and see right here. Don't be looking at this as the middle of your block. Just kind of don't pay that any attention. But make sure that your seams are going. I kind of let them go the way they want to go. You can see my 4 seams there. And I just push my little ends as much as I can get them out. Sometimes I still have to come back and get a pen. And you can also use a chopstick or a turner, whatever you got to do that. But I want to make sure that all my little ends, and see, I cut down on that so I can get these as pointy as possible. As pointy. And it seems like this one that I left open it seems to always want to lay the same way as the other one, so it doesn't bother me just as long as I can get it flat. But just make sure you got them all going and that your ends are sticking out. I did pretty good on those ends. And then of course when you get through, I see your seams are all going this way on this block here. So now you want to get this little piece here to lay over, and I just hand stitch this a little close. You can use a running stitch, whatever stitch you want to do. And of course you come up with a block like this. And you can see this one I've closed up. It ain't got to be pretty, but you got to make sure that you get these points as pointy as you can. And once you do that, you got this block here. You're going to go to your iron and you're going to focus on making sure that you don't have any seams. See how pretty that is? I use water. I just soak it down. And see, if you look at that, you really can't tell what a seam. You would think that's the middle of it. And then once you get your little block like this, mine is still kind of damp. I kind of, like I say, I kind of just get it really wet because muslin is okay to get it wet. And then I just fold it down. I try to get my little points together and kind of fold them. I don't pay that much attention. I would be on the ironing board doing this. And I fold them down like this. But then I focus more on my tips in the middle. And this is the block you're going to come up with. See? And once you fold it down, see how you want to make your block sort of like this. So you got pretty your little points and everything. Then when you get through with that, you got all your little blocks right here. I've been doing mine in 10. I've been adding mine 10 at a time on a row. That helps me keep up with what I got going on. Then you want to butt them up together. Now this is your seams in the inside. This is the back of your block. You see? You want to butt them up together right here. And you want to, I just get mine, I really open mine like this. And make sure that they, see the points there? See how nice that is? And you want to pay attention on your back to make sure one ain't down and the other one's up. And now you're going to go to your machine. And you're just going to, see this crease in here? I got a nice crease. You can't miss that. Stevie Wonder can see that. Bless his heart. And I also take a stitch and then I back tack. You want to back tack because you're going to be folding this up in your hand, balling it up in your hand. But you see how I go across right here in that seam? Right there. And I back tack again at this end. Now I add 10 together. You just continue to go. Maybe I need to do another one for you to help you out. Cut your strings so you can see that again. I'll do another one for you. And you just keep adding till you get 10 in a row. So get them all lined up. You don't need to pin it, just line it up in front of your machine, lay it down. Now if you need to pin, I'm not going to think bad of you because you need to pin. Some of us need to pin. Make sure that you ain't got it tucked under. And just kind of make sure you can make your square on each side here. And that one there. And work it till you get it where it needs to be. I'm going to take a stitch and then I'm going to back stitch. I need to line it up. Yeah, I want that crisp. And I want to sew in a little seam right there again. And I want to back tack. I back tack several stitches because some reason I always tear it apart. I don't know. Maybe I'm too rough. So, as you see all your little flaps there? And that's the back of your block. Okay, now you want to add your block to your work. I got 10 blocks here. And I lay mine on the back. And I really focus on lining up my blocks. Let me show you what I do. I'll take one loose and let you see. Come up here, Mega. I really focus on getting these right in here together. And I take my pen. I'm not going to take it out because you got to keep fooling with this until you make sure that you got them laying together. One ain't on top of the other one. But laying together really nice together. And I stick my pen in and make sure that they line up. And then I take both of my blocks and I pin into my blocks. I line them up, make sure they lined up. And I poke myself all the time. I hate pins. And I line those blocks up. Then I pin it down. So you see, it's on the back. It's on the back. I pinned it. I laid it down on the back. And then I came to the front. And I lined them up. And I always put a pin at the end right here. Put me a pin there. And that'll be the first pin I'll take out. But then I hold it in my lap. Pay attention to what you're doing. I don't worry about these so much. What I worry about is my blocks. You make sure you're not getting these folded down. This little piece up here folded down. And sometimes you may, now I'm gonna put this on this end. And I'm gonna start. And you see my line there? See my little seam? I'm gonna do just as I did. I'm gonna pull this pin out because I wanna make sure I don't get it. I'm gonna take a stitch and then I'm gonna back tack. You really wanna make sure you back tack, and then I pull my pins up. I just stick them down like that until I get ready to sew them. And this little piece where your pin is at, come to your pin as close as you can. You may sometime leave a little hole there. I don't fuss too much about that because as I'm hand stitching them, make sure you got it up here so it's not going all over the place. And that looks like it's gonna come off. You see that little piece right in there? You can't, I don't know if you can see off in there. But right in, it's this little piece where your pin was. You want to try to get the top of that. And see, you just come across. Just come across. See, as much as I iron mine, I don't worry about not seeing my little pleat. But make sure that you got all these out. Because it is so easy. You can feel it up under your fingers. It is so easy to start sewing and there not be. This one right here, I may have to. I see it. I really may have to worry about catching it when I hand stitch it. Because it's kind of deep there. But just take your time. Take your time to do this. See, this is. Did I catch that? And it's all right to show you my boo-boo. I'm gonna show you my boo-boo, and I'm gonna show you how to correct that. But see, I had this one tucked under there. Pay attention to make sure that doesn't happen. And I'm probably gonna have to go back and correct it, but that's okay. Let you know I make mistakes too. I am not a professional. I learned just like everybody else. Make sure you don't run over your pen. Take it out. You want to keep this up because you want to make sure that you keep up with your... You don't want it dragging. You want to keep that as these blocks as nice as possible together. And I don't know, sometimes I feel like I shouldn't have let that went that far without pulling that pin out. Pulling that pin up so I could pull it out. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out. See, I did it again. But I caught it that time. And you'll have a chance. What I do is, if I mess up, you want to make sure these are laying correct too. If I mess up, wherever I messed up putting this together, I just go and take it loose, back tack it, and fix it. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this if I wasn't trying to show y'all how to do it, but it's good that I'm making mistakes so you'll see what kind of mistakes to expect out of this. I mean, a lot of you can pin this up here so you know you got them right, but I am not good with pins. I stick myself if I just look at a pin. So the less pins I can use, the better I am. I'd rather go back and fix the mistake because I'd really be killing myself with these pins. Pull that one out. And see, I'm not having a, when I'm paying attention to what I'm doing. But it tenses me up. I don't worry about this because I can fix that. All I'm worried about is making sure I keep my blocks straight right now. Just take your time and do it. Don't be in a hurry to. It's only 10 blocks that you're putting on here, so you can take your time to do it. And you're going to make sure that those, look, that's not where, but it should be pinned. Y'all may see me making a lot of mistakes here. It should be pinned so it should lay down. Right. See, it's supposed to be pinned like this. I don't know why they're folding back, but we ain't gonna worry about it. We're gonna hope that they all lay down because I did a good job with my pinning. I'm not the best pinner because I hate pinning. It just scares me. It scares me. Now come all the way over. This is the end of it. Keep that pin in until I get it close to the pin. Then I pull it out. And I back tag. Okay. Let's see how bad I did, y'all. There are my blocks. See how nice they are? They all scraped. Can you see? See how nice they are? All my blocks. That's what I worry about first. Then I come back here and I worry if I got any, like this right here. See that little crease right there? I need to go back and take that out and That won't take nothing to take out. I got one right here. And you know why I got these? Because I didn't pay attention to that right there. Let me find my seam ripper. Because I didn't keep this where it's supposed to be. And I'll just go to my back right here. Oh no, I'm not. Try to get it right here where I caught it at. And just try to smooth it out. Be careful, you don't want to cut your blocks now. Take your time with the seam ripper. Because you know, you're using white thread. See, I got my little hole there. Now see, all I got to do, I'm not going to take that all the way loose. I just want that crease out. That's all I want. And that way you don't have to go back and pin. Right here. I wished I was professional enough that y'all wouldn't have to see me use the seam ripper, but you know. Hey, I'm not perfect. See my little creases out? And sometimes I may miss those little creases. See, I got my little hole right here. Now I got to go back and make sure that is laying down in this. Now I did not take that loose so far that it should shift. And I'll start right here. Make sure I'm on my seam, and I'll take a stitch two and I'll back tag. And as you can see right here is where I took it out. That's my little hole that I got there. Don't go ripping it out because it just gonna get on your nerves. Don't just flip that back. Just rip it out enough to flip that back. Now you see what to do and what not to do. I got that little piece taken care of. Go ahead. I mean, it doesn't matter if you cut your threads now. I'll go ahead and cut mine now. But I'm always cutting and trimming when I'm sewing, hand stitching. That's the nice thing about hand stitching. Now see how nice it is now? And I see my little stitches there. I'm not worried about it. When I'm there with my needle, I pick them out and everything. Now see, a lot of the women's, I'm going to tack this right there. And I'll be able to make my little pocket here, my little block. Now you don't have to worry about finding that other hole, because believe me, it'll pop out at you somewhere. Now I know it wasn't way down there. There it is, right there. Now I'm gonna go back in. And when if you make a mistake on the machine, don't beat yourself up about it. When you're hand stitching, that's the good thing about hand stitching. You can always correct it with your hand stitch, with your needle when you get here. Get those threads out. And that's my little hole right there. And I'm gonna make sure I got that. Yep. She turned down like she's supposed to. And I'm just going to take a couple of stitches, back tag. I don't want that coming loose later on. I know y'all be like, I got 100 pair of scissors, I think. But I keep those because they got the little pointy and they actually applique scissors. I'm sure most of you have them. And I got me another block on. Another set of blocks on. And that is how I connect my blocks and how I make my blocks. So, see, those are connected on. And you continue to make them. I'm making them out till I get 100, and I just count these little ends right here. And I didn't, because I'm still working on this end, so I'm not putting a piece on this end until I close all these up right here. And I always leave these bottom ones open. If I have to adjust it, I can just take it loose in the center and adjust them to make them lay down. Because you're not going to always get them perfect, but that does the trick for me. And this is easy for me to keep up with all my blocks. So there we have it. So I hope this helped you guys out. Connecting the blocks, making the blocks, and the whole nine. If not, if I left something else out, and I even showed you a couple of boo-boos. So as you can see on the back, my blocks are nice and straight. So, if there's anything else I can help you all with, don't be afraid to send me a comment and I will try to get it for you. You all have a blessed day.